Hey, hey.
GM.
How are you today? Hey, there he is.
Hello, hello.
Hello, 24. Hello, Dracula. Hello, audience. How's everyone doing today?
Man, just enjoying some kind of good price action at the moment. I mean, I say good. I mean, it's we've been down, we're up, but it's better than going down more. That's the rules. That's the rules in this trading game.
It can always get worse, guys.
You always got to remember that. Yeah.
It can always get worse, but are you better off than you were yesterday? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And we're about 0.0005 better than yesterday.
Yeah.
I like it.
We got 1%. We got 99 to go. Let's go, boys.
We're gonna do it, dude. I have faith. We got 24 on our team. We can't lose. I'm at $24. I ain't never gonna fail. You know?
Oh man, I used to say that about Michael Kong, and I would put the music and edit him in the photo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should have brought that with you.
It's on my Twitter. I'll share it.
Yeah. Corey says, I like that attitude. It can always get worse. You know, you hang around here in crypto long enough, you just come to realize that. So
yeah, I like Orio's also message here. Sonic going to $24, dude. And I like that. Ambitious.
I wish, man. I wish. You know what? When you prepare for the worst, when things good that are good that happens, you know, you feel a lot better, you know. And if it goes bad, you already prepared, man.
Yeah, I do that with a bug out bag I keep in my office. So, you know, just one day I'm just going to grab it and be gone forever. So,
yeah. And if you never have to use it, even better, right? You have 24 bars of gold just sitting under your desk, just ready to go whenever.
Yeah.
That's a bug out bag, right?
Yeah, it's that and like protein bars. Yeah. You know, had like a nice pump. You know, it's like tricky territory where usually we have like a flush out, almost like never fails right before FOMC. It does make me a little wary because I'm like, wait a minute, it's supposed to pump tomorrow. So they're playing like some mind games right now.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was telling Drac before the show, you know, there's been some pretty, we've talked about last episode, there's been a lot of positive news for ETH in particular lately with the Fusaka upgrade. Everyone's loving that. Everyone's juicing over and turning on the fee switch a little bit. But I wanted to point out Tom Lee. You know, we don't really talk about him a lot, but Tom Lee recently just closed, I believe the article I was looking at, I think it was the 7th. He finished his last purchase in this recent round of, I forget the exact number of ETH, but it was about $450 million worth of spend on it. No debt issued as far as I can tell. So yeah, let's celebrate that, guys. That means money coming in. There's still interest, institutional interest out there, baby.
Yeah, Sailor. Yeah, Lee had like a little bit of like a Sailor, like fuck you guys moment. Because you know everybody was like clowning on him that he had just bought the top and this and that. So then he was able to turn around and say, well, actually, I just got a bunch cheap and you guys are still poor. So, yeah, so he got the like dunk on everybody there, little moment. I wanted to say here, SMU says protein bars means Chick-fil-A gift cards. I just want to say,
how do you know?
You know me well.
But you know, my question is: this is gonna be a Santa rally or a Krampus dump, dude? What do you guys think, dude? Because you know, it looks like all things are pointing towards a Santa rally, that they scared everybody out in November. They beat the hell out of us, black bagged us, took all of our tokens. But now momentum is kind of shifting here. Do you think we bottomed here, man? What do you think, 24?
Man, for the sake of my life, I hope it's a bottom. I'm kidding, guys. You never know with these kind of markets. As long as like you're happy with your position. Like I always go anecdotal. Like if the bags you have aren't just there because you want to break even, but you actually believe in the asset going up, then hold. But yeah, there's always the Christmas volatility, man. Like Santa rally into like paying for gifts, selling, like you know what I mean. So I'm hoping ETH looks really strong though at these levels, and like you know that Taiki guy, he's telling me he's getting liquidated on his.
I saw that, man. He just had a little my thesis post. I guess it was about a week ago, pretty much saying it's over. So I'll give the guy credit that at least he's on the timeline being like, I have a massive position and I'm about to get liquidated.
Yeah, I'll be honest. No, dude, he hasn't been cooking, dude. He cooked last month, all right? And let me tell you why I'm pissed off, dude, because I was using Taiki as kind of one of my measurements, my psychological measurements for if I should go short, right? Because usually I inverse trade Taiki, right? No offense to Taiki, but sometimes I tend to inverse trade him. Yeah. When he hit it big on that short, I was like, wait a minute, this thesis makes a lot of sense. Let's go short for a little while. I cleared, dude. I was making money. I closed them all out. And then when he said he's opening them back up again, I was a little confused. I was like, but dude, we kind of bled a shitload here. Maybe, but maybe he knows something I don't. So I went back in with him. I went from a hot streak, guys. I was DMing you guys. I was bragging, waving my dick around. I got like, look at all this money I made on my portfolio, dude. Copying Taiki, lost it all again, dude. Back to where I started.
Well,
net zero on the portfolio, dude.
Yeah, and
I mean, come on the show, defend your honor, dude.
And I mean, we're still, we're having a nice breakout here for sure. But, I went down to the 4 hour because I just wanted to show again. I think on last show, no, it was over the weekend. I was posting this in the GMSONIC Telegram. These two candles right here. If you keep going down the line, I mean, as we've been ranging, it's like these guys are eating right now because basically it's about once a day, somewhere around the daily close. They literally run both sides of, they run close stops on shorts and longs while we've been ranging, like these last however many days. So it's like I've said before, or like I said on like Friday, I guess it was like, try not to get chopped up. I mean, I'm not saying like, necessarily leave your stop loss as your liquidation, as I like to do sometimes, but you're running tight stops here. They're just chopping everybody up, man. I mean, maybe we're about to have like a uptrend here, but yeah, I mean, I think that it's looking promising for a Santa rally. Yankee here, this is where my mind went when we first were talking about it, was if you remember what last Christmas was like, where they were just like, hey, Santa rally is canceled. Yeah, I mean, it was rough last Christmas. So they owe it to us. The market manipulators, they need to buy some goodwill to keep us around, I think.
Yeah. We can't be selling for gifts. Like, we can't do this again, not like last year. I remember that, dude. It was like, damn, dude, is this taxes now? Are they prepping for next year? What are they doing?
God, dude, I don't know, man.
Regardless of what happens, Christmas is canceled. No presents for anybody. Fallout Zone says, which coin are we talking about bottoming, though? I was thinking, I'm hesitant to say we've completely bottomed on anything because, as we said before, everything can always get worse, right? I mean,
well
they could
let me show you something else
on us tomorrow.
If you want to feel better, this, as always, Bitcoin Weekly, use that for my general directional stuff. This is the first green candle in the making, basically since the beginning of October. So I would like to think that we got saved from entering the cloud. So didn't have to flip bearish quite yet. To me, this is very, very hopeful. You got this, our last week close, right? We got wicks on both sides, which means, there's a little more indecision compared to these previous candles that are just straight, elevator to fucking hell. Yeah, you got some indecision on last week's close. You're green so far this week. So I'm starting to feel pretty confident we're bottoming.
Yeah. It feels like a bottom, it feels like it sentimentality wise. But You know, who knows, dude? What if like tomorrow Trump invades Mexico, grand forces?
That is just the fun, the fun of, you know, regardless of market direction, forces, trends, you still have that nice thing in the back of your mind that, you know, there could just be some other 200% tariff drop tomorrow and liquidate everyone all over again. It's just the times we're living in.
A lot of smart people seem to be extremely hopeful for January onward and very, what would you call it, wishy-washy about December in general. A lot more opinions split on December, a lot more positivity for January. Now, people are pointing out the ETH Bitcoin chart very strong. Others, Bitcoin is hopium. And Zorgblatt wants the escalator back to purgatory.
Yeah, I said elevator to hell. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we're on the escalator en route to purgatory. I hope.
FOMC, we were talking about, it's coming on Wednesday, so this rally is a little bit early. We're a little concerned about it. Again, my hesitation, my worry, you guys know I'm a little worrywart about the whole economy in general. A little update for you guys. I got a video coming out about this later today, hopefully. But what was it? November jobs data, never going to see the light of day. No one's ever going to see what the hell that was. All right. October, they're never going to see. November, it's not going to come till January. So this new rate decision, it's completely blind. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. They've got like small claims out there, and the unemployment numbers look bad enough that we're pretty much locked for a cut, right? If you guys look on the CME, looks like 87% of economists say it's going to be a cut. Polymarket 95%. So it's a lock, baby. But my concern is what comes next after that, dude. They're talking about easing. Could be good. So look, again, if we survive December, January should be nice for risk guys like us.
Yeah. Honestly, Q1's always a good, like, a lot of metrics get turned around. A lot of companies are reporting stuff. It's a good time. But, man, I'm just I haven't looked, honestly, just out of fear at the chart in any capacity for us. But now that it's in front of me live, like, man, that looks gnarly.
Yeah.
It's painful. This is the daily. But I guess similar sentiment as to like what you're seeing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. A lot of red here. Seeing a little indecision down here at support. Flipped green. You know, let's hope. Right? I mean, we're still just in this weird phase where it's like what actually moves the alt market positive, because Bitcoin can go up, Ethereum can go up, and sometimes we still have alts going down even despite all that. So I tend to believe that what it's going to take to move the alt market is people having access to cheaper money, is people knowing that they're about to do a lot of easing into the market, that more rate cuts are coming. So that's why I'm more bullish in terms of like, you know, Q1, Q2 next year. I think right now it's like you have to survive. Yeah. Like, don't capitulate. Don't lose it all selling down here. I saw lots of people capitulate these last however many weeks. People that, you know, even people like I wouldn't necessarily expect, just literally selling the very bottom. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I think a lot of the cases, it was just psychological, you know?
It's emotional for sure.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm never going to like, you know, clown on somebody that's like, yeah, like I got shit I got to pay for and I had to do it. But, you know, I'm talking people that were just got psyched out, man.
Yeah. Don't feed into sentiment. You got to actually just take a step back and look at your own ideals. Like, why am I in this asset? Okay, I believe that it could be, you know, top 10, top 30. It's a good asset. So just hold if that's your point of contention. But if you're just cutting your losses, that would actually be a good thing too. Like if you believe that you have an opportunity cost of holding an asset where there isn't any like short-term catalyst or anything that's changing, that's also a good reason to exit. But I'm seeing a lot more of the emotional exits, like where you got to write a tweet on Twitter telling everyone like, hey man, this guy, dude, I fuck him, man, and now I'm out. Like, dude, come on. Like surely like it's like they're out without any other plan. Just I'm out now and that's it. versus like, okay, I think there's an opportunity cost here. Maybe I'll try another asset that I think can perform better. Like we saw at least before this week, like hype was an asset that was kind of just outperforming market trends, right? So that makes sense too. But then you can't fight Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going down, we're all taking some losses. So just don't be emotional. Like I hate to be that person, but if your decision is kind of like made off of other opinions or the sentiment, like you're probably in the wrong space, because that's going to be every day for you. Like, you know what I mean?
There was this post I referenced, and it's a good example of like what you're talking about. Where sometimes like, just being all of us like constantly in the algo, being kind of shown what the algo thinks we want to see, or, pushing the negative stuff. It's like not saying like, oh, I mean, of course it's like, yeah, like the market in general is in a rough time, like a rough patch. But there's this guy, he's like a Solidity coder, and he was talking about how his wife is also in crypto. They both do like stuff in crypto. And for 5 years, she's not on crypto. She's not on Twitter. She doesn't read. She's not a part of CT. That was kind of his point, was that she has nothing to do with CT. Every time she's tried to sign up, she's just deleted the app. She's like, nah. So she's done nothing but DCA majors for the last 5 years. And he was like, I'm losing my mind because she's outperforming me. And I'm on CT, like, buying the new stuff, selling stuff, flipping stuff all the time. And her portfolio is now outperforming mine. So there really is like a big psychological element, especially when it comes to like social media and everything else.
Yeah, it's the thing to remember about Twitter, at least at this stage, probably was always like this, but it is primarily an advertising and marketing machine. It's not really like a journal or something. You're not getting like actual data that's useful or researched. Most often you're getting like a sell, like I want you to buy this, or I want you to sell this. And it's motivated by, whatever corporate or whatever behind them wants it to happen, or their own personal interest. So
I figure
right.
We got a couple questions for 24.
Yeah. I was just about to mention, I can answer them quick. I remember a couple of them. One was asking about our operational costs.
This one
they're
here?
all good. We're always optimizing. It's mainly like operational costs aren't the biggest concern. What we optimize for, and it's a part of our elastic emissions. Sometimes network kind of slows down, so we have to dial down emissions as well to kind of make sure that we're in parity. We're making more than we're emitting. And then someone asked about FT launch this December. It doesn't really matter when it launches. That is completely market agnostic. It's Andre cooking, so I think that'd be awesome for the network and Sonic in general. So if it's December, yesterday, like you heard that adverb, best time to do it is, planting trees 20 years ago. Best time is now. So, whenever it's out, we're quite happy for it. My view on the vibe in the dev community, man, this might be like super against what the community thinks. I think if you ask, and I saw a tweet recently, and I think it really encompasses it correct. If you ask builders on ETH or Bitcoin how they feel, they are so excited. Like, this is the time to build. This is the time to get into it. But I'm noticing alts, like people that are building on alts, which have gotten a lot more of the negative price action, they're a lot more dejected, right? And now it's kind of like, is it the token price, or did you actually kind of believe in the network? I, to this day, still think that Sonic is the most performant L1, period. It is. It's proven. When it comes to smart contract execution, you have like Monad creating Monad DB, and like a lot of the stuff that, obviously I think it's licensed. Carmen is licensed, but a lot of the stuff that Sonic did is kind of getting brain dumped, and it's okay to see that. It's whatever. But the reason why I believe in Sonic is I believe it's the most performant smart contract layer, like or L1, right? So that doesn't change for me as a builder. So, there's like a meme, like of this girl. Like you see the image, it's a cartoon, and she's in like a really messy place, and the dude comes in and he's like, "Damn, bitch, you living like this?"
Yeah.
That's how it feels to build on other networks. Genuinely, it's not a good experience. Like, and like if you're deploying a contract somewhere else, and then you compare to Sonic, it's not even close to the same experience, right? So like, eventually, things can come back. Like we're gonna have, a top tier application like Flying Tulip or anything else. Like I'm not too worried. Obviously, I want Sonic to do better. Yes, this is the image. That's how it feels to
Building
build
on-
anywhere else, right? But I understand the concerns of the community. Like I'm being honest with you. Like I'm not so oblivious to how people are feeling and the stuff that's going on. But like it's still maybe I was hopium, copium, whatever you want to call it. It's still the best smart contract executing L1. So when it comes to actually using the network, it's the best experience. So if we just kind of stick to that and push, it'll be better. I love that image so much, dude.
Yeah, that was a great example. And I mean, I can attest to that too, just from like, like moving things around on so many other networks. I mean, even some of like the faster L1s, it's like, you still have those moments where like your TX is basically frozen and you're having to pump gas or whatever. And, it is why it's like, man, we got to get Sonic back on track, because yeah, performance wise, it really is superior to pretty much anything out there. I mean, and
yeah, maybe I'll add one thing, guys. It doesn't take much to bring a network back, dude. You've seen like TVL implosions or explosions. It's not hard for Sonic to come back. It really isn't, right? So I know the team's working. They're working on, new plans, new incentives, whatever it is. Flying Tulip. Just kind of like, don't be so pessimistic at these levels because you're a signal to outside communities. I've seen so many cases where people are looking at, oh, wow, Sonic looks like a great buy. And then they quickly check Twitter, hashtag Sonic, the cash tag, and it is horrible. It is not like indicative of a community or a token I want to buy. And I get how you guys are feeling, but you have to be a little strong. I always bring up 2021, 2020 and how hard people work for their bags, how hard people would try and onboard new users. Like someone asked a question, they would instantly be like, okay, this is how you get there. Because remember how much harder the barriers to go on new networks was? There wasn't nice bridges. You'd have to find the specific bridge for the network and the specific bridge for the asset that you want to bring. And it's like, is this any USD? Is it multi-chain USD? Is it this? Ah, shit, man. So I get it though. I really do get it. I'm not absolving, a lot of the issues and mistakes that were made. Obviously not, but all you can do is kind of look forward and just do the best you can.
Yeah, man.
I think that's well said, man. I think that is true. Is like we kind of get similar to what we were talking about, like creating sentiment based off the timeline, right? Like when you're putting it out there, it's a nice emotional release, but what is it actually doing for you? Like, is it helping you in any way or your cause, I suppose? Possibly, maybe, I don't know. But I think more often than not, you're right. It just scares people away, right? Like, especially if we're I think what's happening also is like, because price is down, people are desperate to find reasons. So they're just trying to like, they want something to cling to. But, what can we do? I wanted to show this too. I wanted to say every time I see this chart, this is what I think of. Is this right here? I think of Stewie falling down the stairs every time.
I just like, why is it in Spanish?
Yeah. But yeah, Benny brings up a point here. His counter will be community already did all this. We helped on board. We pushed people towards good projects and have done it for 2 years now. Yeah, that's true.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something, I think that's something that should also be pointed out is, when we discuss these things, like, I don't think anybody can argue that the community did play its part. Right. And the community has played its part. And yeah, I agree. It's like, there's there's a lot of things that got to get fixed. There's, some things that got to get changed. That stuff's still in progress. But yeah, I mean, it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be angry. But at some point, we do got to be like, all right, like, is it time to get back to work? Is it time to figure out, how we're going to fix the situation? But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of factors, but I would say that for sure that, going back to Phantom, moving over to Sonic, the community always played its part and always, still to this day, there's people supporting and, trying to help the network and all that stuff.
To be clear, like the community is not at fault at all. And I think what is happening on the timeline is completely normal human reactions and emotions, right? A lot of the stuff that I'm actually kind of trying to push on you guys, oh yeah, maybe we should be more positive or do this or that. A lot of that should fall on the Sonic team, of course. Like it's their network, right? I'm not asking you guys to, be Roosh and bid hundreds of millions into Sonic and save it yourself and put the Superman jersey on. And, you know what I mean? Yeah. But just try to be a little bit more inviting. But because like I hear it all the time. I'll get a message like, dude, I just bought so much Sonic. And then like a week later, oh my God, I had to exit, dude. I felt like it was in quicksand with all the sediment. It was just bad. But no, it's not community's fault. And a lot of it does lie on the actual network to produce results. I can't just blame, I can't blame some random guy named Yankee Ruins tweets. Like, I don't know who that guy is, but just as an example, like he's
name him by give him his exact handle name. Yeah. Don't know who that is. No, I think you're right. It's kind of like a party, right? It's Labs' party. We're all the guests at the party. So obviously when you go to a party, if there's a bunch of assholes, you don't want to be there. But whose fault is it really? It's the guy who's throwing the party, right?
Yeah.
Like who's in charge of the party?
It's his house.
Yeah, it's his house. So he's got the guest list, he's got the drinks or whatever. But that's one thing. I think I had pulled up something here because I think this was kind of, let's see here. Oh yeah, someone asked about this. They asked if you were. Oh yeah, 24. Has the Resonance Fund been in contact with you guys? Because this was something else that was on the timeline that people were talking about.
I'm sure
Resonance Fund.
They've contacted many projects. I don't think we're not like unique in that matter. I can't really discuss anything, but they're very diligent and they're a great team. I love to see them doing stuff. I didn't actually like the reaction to them actually attempting to make moves on the assets because it's a fund, right? Their mandate is to make money for the fund, to get a return, and they're a Sonic based fund, right? So obviously them doing anything is actually quite a positive bullish signal in my humblest opinion. That means like there's action coming to the ecosystem in whatever way, providing liquidity, et cetera. They wrote it in their tweet. Just kind of like that was another instance of like, let's not jump the gun kind of thing a little bit. Like, let's see what this was or what it is. But no, they're a great group of guys. I met them in, was it Singapore? Or they did a talk. I'm not sure if I met them directly, but they did a talk and I listened and it was quite nice.
Yeah, I want to share this. If you guys haven't seen it, give this talk a listen, not just because I intro it by reading off my iPad, but because it's a great talk, actually. It's very interesting. They kind of give their thesis for why they're involved in Sonic, what their goals are, and all that. So kind of demystify them a little bit, which I think is quite good. I think it is quite bullish. And yeah, I mean, they did what was it, like a sell on Shadow or something, and everyone was really upset about it. I totally understand. No one wants to see any sells going on, but this is the exact kind of thing you want to see, actually. You want to see funds interacting on chain, right? Like
I hate to characterize it as a sell. Like it is selling through LP, of course. But that's infinitely better than just going on a CEX or Binance and just hitting sell and having full market impact. This is like essentially a range order. And people that are buying Sonic are getting Sonic for almost zero slippage, right? So it's essentially the healthiest way you can exit and enter a position, honestly. And at the same time, you're providing liquidity for the network, right? So, obviously, they probably need USDC to make some of the things that they want done happen. So, and it's just like it's a if I was going to have my asset, let's say for example that I own, being sold, this is definitely the much more preferred method without like price impact or you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the kind of stuff that, especially right now in kind of low liquidity environment, price down environment, people are like really scared of and sensitive. But it seems to me that there's a way to look at this where it's like, this is the like, you want funds interacting and you want them to feel comfortable interacting, and that people aren't going to try and kill them and blow their spot up for doing so. Because for how all the people want green candles, right? But I don't think it's ever in the cards that the treasury, the Sonic Labs treasury, is gonna be dumped into market buys like you want. You got to build a business, right? So like, this is kind of how you do it. You get these funds interacting. They learn that they can make money using Sonic, then they more come, and then we start getting activity. So I would just hate for us to, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I want to see this kind of activity encouraged, even if it is kind of.
Yeah, are you able to pull up their message really quick? Like I hope people
Mhm.
realize a lot of the stuff that people want labs to do, they seem like the vehicle to do it. Like if you look at
Yeah.
a transparent look at what's nearing completion, providing
Oh yeah. I
liquidity.
think that makes it harder to read, but there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, providing liquidity, investments. It's all the stuff I've seen the community be like, labs, do this, do this, do this. So if anything, this is like very, very welcome news. I was a little shocked by the reaction here. I think users need to kind of be like to look at what they want. You've asked for this so many times. Here it is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like now you're kind of being a little contradicted. Do you want this or no? You don't want this. Okay, well make your mind up because
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Hmm. Well, I guess the way they all want it to manifest, and I mean, I would love it if it happened this way too, but everyone would just love to see we onboard JP Morgan, and every day JP Morgan unloads a $10 million market buy every single day, every hour. That's the ideal situation, but realistically, that's not going to happen. These funds have to, engage in LP provision. They need to engage in seed round investments. It's going to be a little bit different.
You know what? You want to pull up Benny's comment? I hear this like
This one? Yeah.
there's been a lot of questions about like Sonic Treasury, the amount that they have, because I think that's where misaligned like expectations are killing them because
Mhm.
we've talked about how big the treasury is and how fruitful the assets are in different tokens. So when users see a fund having to like LP out of a Sonic position when instead like they're thinking, oh, why don't the $500 million just go towards that isn't an S, right? Like I get it. I think that's where a lot of the anger and stuff is. Obviously they haven't clarified the treasury stuff or anything like that, and I think that's where the expectations are kind of missing because we've I think the teams talked about how big the treasury is or how big interest in buying the asset is like, and that's what really is killing expectations when somebody says we have $800 million of like potential like bids or we have $600 million treasury, and then when things get bad people aren't really actually like using that. Like that's where I think a lot of the sentiment issue is. If you had just kind of from the beginning or just kind of more straight up of, instead of using this to advertise the network, I don't know. It's just misaligned expectations. That's all it is. That's why people are
Mhm.
upset. I don't think people are upset at Resonance at all. It's more like by proxy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Labs got some splaining to do, before any of this really gets buried in an effective way. So hopefully we can get some answers out of them soon. Now, next up, someone mentioned what about the ideas for the rest of the airdrop funds discussed with builders? Well, 24 up, they asked you for your input on what to do with the
Yeah,
airdrop
they've
fund.
definitely talked to me about incentives, but we like who knows? It's their mandate. Like who knows when it'll come out? But the idea that I hate to get into the beats thing, but the idea that I saw
Well, we're
their
going to get
thread.
into the beats.
Yeah, they dropped the thread today, and they like there's no clear the airdrop funds might never be used. Like that's kind of wrong as well. Like it can be used, just maybe not now, maybe in the future. Like there'll be plans.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you scroll down, I quickly read through this. The only part that I was like a little super against was there. Why use the airdrop funds? Oh, because it might not never be used for growth. That is a horrible justification. Like we're gonna use this because right now it's not clear what it would be used. I would love for that to be used for growth. I think funds that are earmarked for something should be used for that. If not, burned. It's that simple. It shouldn't be reallocating. That's when things get really weird. That's why like the Binance message pops up about minting S. Like you got to be very, if you had just planned this from the beginning when you created the token, we need this much for this, it's just good tokenomics. When you change things, you seem just like, it's just such a bad signal for anybody investing in your asset that like money can just, a dude could wake up, open his eyes and say, yeah, fuck man, let's move fucking 30 million to here and here. Like that's horrible. That's a horrible, there has to be decision making. There has to be some sort of onus to it. And I know they're trying to do it with this, but not a fan of like I'm sure everyone's seen my response to it. I'm just not a fan of like, okay, of course repay users, but like to insinuate that the airdrop funds would be useless if it isn't repaid to us, like is horrible.
Yeah, and that's something me and Corbel were talking before the show was that part also was exactly what kind of like jumped out at me and didn't necessarily sit well with me at first was and we've talked about this a couple times on the show now, is just that just because they're not being used right now, why should those funds not be used for incentives in the future or growth or whatever? So I'm not I think that if I was in this situation, I would be moving away from that argument. I don't think that's a good argument for this. Now, I think you have better arguments in terms of if you're talking about important liquidity and important users and the product itself being really important. I mean, it's, we had a couple other projects kind of try to break in on LSTs, but at this point it is still pretty much the only LST that the majority of people are using. So I mean, stick to those arguments. Let's not say the money, no one's using the money. I don't think that's a great
or like people are gonna sell it if they get it. Like guys are just like, come on, dude.
And we've discussed this before. I mean, it's like there's a whole flywheel that is necessary to bring volume and metrics back to this network, and there's just no way getting around it that it is going to take money, whether it is S, whether it is USDC, whether it's wrapped ETH, whatever. Nothing is going. This thing cannot be lifted off the ground without money being spent at this point. You're just going to have to. So, I don't think it's a good idea to be like, oh, well, there's growth funds and nobody's using it right now. I think they should be used, and they most likely will be used.
Yeah. Honestly, I think airdrop stuff is the biggest catalyst to get, user money, but you have to plan the incentives perfectly, and you have to have catalysts and economic activity that will support that extra, rush of capital after it, right? And we have to be honest, an incentive program combined with a bunch of stuff is how we, get that quick turnaround everyone wants, right? It is what it is, right? I love even Shadow, but like Shadow is not enough to make an entire network like turn around, right? It's just a product of what the environment is. So incentives combined with some sort of like lasting economic activity is what we need. And just plan it nicely, just work on it, whatever it is. But I just hate to see that our future potential growth catalyst getting nuked because of like a DEX failure on chain, which it doesn't really, it's not its purpose to cover.
Yeah. I want to point out before, I think he asked a good question here, and I want to get to that, but I wanted to recommend that people check out this thread because there are a couple points that I think people will agree are kind of boneheaded, like we've discussed, but there are a couple, I guess you could say, more logical points that they're making in terms of like you know, it depends on kind of, I guess, how you see incentive programs and the like, whether or not, if you were to look at this as a straight up a strategic investment in the network, is it better to invest in, say, growth or the stability of an asset that's important to the network? Again, I don't necessarily buy into, again, how they've approached this or the arguments. I think there are still better ways in terms of loan structure or something like that to kind of fill the hole. But I want to talk to the Beats team. I think we're going to try and get them on the show. Maybe we can hash this out as long as everyone promises to be polite. Okay. This is not.
Well, and also you have to think, I will say this, like, in our Telegram, the feelings are they're mostly negative, but I would honestly say it's closer to 50-50 or 60-40 than most people think. From things I see around. I mean, because obviously, you know, there are people that had significant funds affected, you know, and so it's probably closer than most people realize. So, I mean, I think it's good to have this like discourse, and yeah, like we've been chatting with them a little bit today. We're going to try to like get them on here. You know, maybe
I
even
think
like
they have a good argument. Like if they're committing their revenue to repay it, and like there's certain ways to go about it, of course. I think there's like I'm gonna stick up for Beats here. I don't think they've done their best job articulating their kind of points in their arguments of actually how to repay this. I think if they kind of stick to that, because it's kind of logical fallacy to attack like, oh, it's not going to be used correctly. Like you're attacking the wrong thing. You want to talk about, okay, we have this much revenue. If we commit this much and we do this. I just think the reason why they got such a negative reaction, I think they just didn't articulate the proposal as well as they could have. And I think they brought up like some stuff they probably could have just not mentioned, you know,
yeah.
Don't mention that mercenaries will dump the airdrop. Like, just do a better airdrop. You know?
Yeah, my funeral says here like they should take out a loan from a bank, not the community. And we discussed that in terms of, I guess it was an episode or two ago where I kind of like what Corval briefly touched on. I think that, yeah, like if you take what 24 is saying, where these points are articulated differently and maybe more like explained in detail, but then also I think if there was a counter with more like loan stipulations and better conditions, right? Like I said, I used the Cetus from SWE loan kind of example last episode where, 10% of revenue and 10% from the treasury. I don't think those numbers add up for what is being done here. So I think you might even be better working up something with, more like loan terms and better figures in terms of like revenue and what's coming from the treasury. Treat it like an actual, business decision, right? So yeah, but yeah, I totally see what Funeral's saying there.
I believe in the Beats team. They've been around for so long, and like, dude, they were at some point a massive catalyst as well. Oh, let me mute this. In Phantom days, do you remember when Beats launched and Justin Sun just bridged 200 million and was farming that?
Beats launch was
network catalyst when when they launched on Phantom, they were a massive network catalyst. So I believe in this team. I know they'll do the right thing. I just think that maybe when it comes to these proposals, just having a couple eyes look at it, throw it in the community a little bit first. Like, okay, maybe this isn't a good idea. Like, that's the whole point of the forums, guys. This isn't a real proposal yet. This is kind of gauging, figuring out, okay, maybe we can articulate this a little bit better. Maybe we ask for less. Like, I'm sure we could stomach a lot less, like, of an amount. Like, I believe in these guys. This isn't the first rodeo they've dealt with anything hard, and it won't be their last, and they'll push through it. I like teams that never give up. Like,
I want to say something maybe a little controversial here, but actually I think this is my favorite thing that's happened on Sonic in the last like couple of months here, because it's like actually substantial conversation about the philosophy and the strategy of the network, right? Where we're talking about who owes who what is their order of priorities and how are we going to go about it. So I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's participating in the governance conversation. You know, if you're in the forum and you're replying or just even replying on X, hell, even if you're being a rude psycho, at least you're contributing, you're showing some interest in like how the network's actually working. But I do think this is a fantastic opportunity. I've been telling some other smaller teams too, this, like, again, because this is just a conversation, right? This isn't advanced to the actual voting yet. You know, this should kind of be like an example. Look, Beats is making a very, very, very bold request, and they're making very bold arguments to do so. I think more people should be utilizing the governance forum, maybe not for this specifically, but for hashing out these things in kind of public conversations that are a bit more structured. Now, before we move on, because we're kind of nearing the end here, there was another good question I wanted to ask you, 24, because it's tapping your expertise here. It's from Stinky. Can you name a project or a chain that has done an incentive airdrop program right?
Oh, man. Yes and no. I think some programs have been like done really well in ways, and some ways no. And I'm going to get really controversial here.
Mm-hmm.
Before Sonic's airdrop, and I saw how it was structured, I knew majority was going to go to loopers of like LSD and correlated assets. The same OBL airdrop happened, and about 60% of their airdrop went to the loopers. And like, I'm just a user, right? Like, I'm thinking, oh, how would I make the most out of this airdrop? Okay, I will go on Silo and loop stake Sonic and Sonic over and over and over again. And season 1 of the airdrop, about 40% of the airdrop went to those loopers and about 60% of gems to Silo. So I highlighted that early on, and a change wasn't made. And you got to kind of just think about the worst user always when it comes to these airdrops. What will they do to game your airdrop, right? I like linear ignition for a little bit, but that's a great way to get a rush of capital. But then if you're not, if there's not any economic activity support that just sudden $1 billion on your network, then you're shit out of luck. It's going to leave eventually, right? So my thought process was for Sonic, and this is just, guys, don't think of this as like I'm like some Jesus savior or whatever the fuck. Like, I could be wrong, but I think a combination of a really strong incentive program, something like Ignition that was like anti-JIT, and it paid more for volatility. It was anti-looping as well, combined with a good application like Flying Tulip, right? And then also something like our MEV suite that's coming. We'll take advantage of that TVL. Battery exhausted is hilarious on your webcam. Anyways, we're nearing the end. But like, when you get an influx of TVL from these incentive programs, right? The way we could really take advantage of it, at least for Shadow, is we have privileged MEV, like privileged arbitrage, and it scales harder the more TVL you have. So then now you get the TVL, you're paying for the TVL, you have an app that's keeping people there like Flying Tulip, and then that increased TVL is actually earning a lot of money. Like, I estimated around like 90, 100 mil TVL, it's $100,000 a week of just from the privileged MEV arbs. That's not even counting cross-chain arbitrages or CEX DEX arbitrages or even cross-venue arbitrages. We've highlighted some places. I don't want to give all of our edge out, but there's some applications where that are mispriced, right? And we can arbitrage that from our liquidity pool. Just so you guys know, the edge we have is that we're a privileged AMM operator, right? So we can capture these opportunities in the same block, change fees, capture it. So if you do throw incentives, you want an application that'll keep people there. FriendTech was perfect for base at the start. And then that TVL shouldn't just be paid for by us. Like, it shouldn't just be subsidized by Sonic. We should also make money off of increased TVL. And we should target the highest revenue generating assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's something we really missed on season 1, or the Sonic airdrop. I think for half of the season 1, Bitcoin and like was completely ignored. Like, I had to really push on my side to get Bitcoin included. So if you get TVL on these assets, millions of dollars and we have MEV and privilege, right? We can generate a lot of money off that TVL. And then now that TVL is not just subsidized by an airdrop or incentives, but there's real economic activity that's subsidizing those costs, because the more TVL we have access to, the more we can arbitrage, the more we can do cross-chain arbitrages. And like if anyone's listening here, right now the biggest topic in the DEX space is internalizing MEV, and that's something we've been building for 8 months now. We internalize MEV in this case by front running them and then distributing that equivalent value, if not greater, back to the same participants that lost it. So that plus making money and extra revenue on TVL, I see that as the way. But again, I'm just a simple builder and I'm a simple user who goes to every network. I was there on Scroll looping assets. I was there on Sonic looping assets. I will always, like, it's the flow of water. It's going to go to the least resistive path, right?
Yeah.
If you make the airdrop super easy to game a bit, that's the results that's going to happen with your incentives. So incentives on it in its own is not enough. I've seen good incentives out there, but have you seen good incentives last forever? No. I love how Base does it. They just take their they just take their revenue and bid the highest revenue generating asset on their network, and then they just move on. That's like the simple direct to whatever you like. That's just simple direct. This is making us money, we bid that. Or you can do incentivize TVL the same way I did. There's just so many ways to do it. I believe in Sonic, and I'm telling people the repricing can be really, really violent. Like when you finally find that fit and all the pieces, all the new hires for Sonic Labs are finally settling in and they're able to actually like execute on the stuff they did. A lot of it's cleanup. A lot of it's cleanup of previous stuff, like ending the old airdrop, et cetera, et cetera. I'm on a massive rant, but I believe, guys. I believe, and I've never believed more in my life than now.
Hell yeah, dude. That's some real powerful stuff, 24. That was a lot to process, but I'm with you, dude. I think, you know, one, I think you got some good ideas here. I think you're right. It is liquidity. It's like water. It's why we call it liquidity. It flows where it's, you know, the easiest for it to go.
Yeah.
And so we got to figure out ways to capture, right?
Yeah.
And then simultaneously, I think you're right in that there is like some cleanup going on, but I think like the rest of the community, I concur. We want to see some stuff materializing, just because at the very least, when we're left with our own devices, we start going crazy. We start going fucking nuts, dude. We start tearing each other apart. But, you know, unfortunately my camera died, right?
Yeah. Drax gone. It's clearly the end of the show, but I just want to give the community something. I feel like the sentiment's been horrible. If you guys want to clip and cut parts out to kind of post and get people kind of excited again, I'm telling you, the turnaround is so easy. It's so fast. People are right now are yield starved. Right now, starved. And for anything that's consistent, if we can make it consistent, that's what people don't want to just bridge for 3 days. You know what I mean? We just got to consistently provide that yield, and then not just take it, but actually generate revenue off of it. Like I really believe it's about incentivizing the correct economic activity, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Just believe, guys.
Yeah.
Believe in something.
Right on.
Look,
thanks,
the
24.
right there.
Believe in shadow at the very least. Now, this is the end of the show. I got to start wrapping up here, just because I can't do a show if I can't see my own beautiful face. But I also wanted to throw this up there because I wanted to talk about it a little bit more, but we ran out of time. So homework for you guys watching. Double Sharp put out a nice thread describing the NFT that's going to be used for your options on Flying Tulip. So give a quick run through of that, and we'll talk about it again on Friday. We're going to try and get another super special guest Friday for some conversation. But I want to thank 24. This was a great show, man. I thought this was a really good talk, and I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your time with us. And
anytime, man. I love speaking to the community.
Hell yeah, brother. Dude, and I also want to thank everyone else for showing up, tuning in, and watching. Be sure to support us how you can. Likes, comments, retweets, the like. Really does help get the word out. And because, look, like 24 saying, the save is so easy. We could really easily turn this thing around. and we can just do our little part here. Let's get the message out a little bit. So until then, we'll see you guys on Friday. Stay tuned for a video I'll be releasing later, and we'll catch you guys later. Adios.
Take care, guys.
GMSONIC is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.